Really very positive. You have a very good friend circle. I can see on their faces certain curiosity, more than eagerness. There is eagerness, but some curiosity. What this is going to be? Prataji said Swamiji is going to share some profound truths. When we talk about Upanishadic wisdom, which is technically called Moksha Shastra, it is definitely profound truths. Upanishads, when they talk about your true nature, Atmajnana, Brahmajnana, such things, that is extraordinary. I am not saying what I will share with you today is too commonplace, not really. Viduraniti actually is more about living more sensibly, living more responsibly, living a more righteous life, not for the pleasure of being right, I am right, others are wrong, but rest assured, the righteous life that we will be discussing with Viduraniti is something which gives happiness to both others and ourselves. When we mess up our life, when we say something but do something else, when we are living in contradictions, conflicts, when we are living with certain self-rejection, and all the same in get-togethers, etc., maybe with a soft drink in hand, I am fine, I am doing wonderful, how are you, and so on. We pretend, we play games. Somebody wrote a book also, right? The games that people play. I suppose that is on psychology, maybe transactional analysis or something, on mind. It's a very well talked about book, I haven't read it. So this Viduraniti is about dharma, it's not moksha. Moksha is a little bit mind blowing, but through sustained study of Vedanta, you will really be convinced of the truths of the Vedanta. You will actually feel that it also, though may not be within the frame of reason, it is certainly not against reason. Vedanta is not against reason, but Vedanta, the Upanishadic wisdom, says certain things which are not against reason also. You would say it could be. To just passingly give an example, Vedanta says, I am talking of Advaita Vedanta of Vivekananda, of Shankaracharya. This Advaita Vedanta says the very sense of duality, you are different, I am different. My rise doesn't have to mean your rise, and your rising may not mean much to me. This is how normally we perceive the world. Advaita Vedanta says, in reality, if you know who you truly are, there is no such division of others and you. There are only the division of erroneous perception and right perception. If you see things rightly, you are at peace, and you see in others also the possibility of real peace, but if there is erroneous perception in them, wrong perception in them, there is suffering, and you feel sympathy, but you don't look down at anybody. You know that she is also as perfect as I am, but she doesn't seem to realize that. Then you don't look down, because she is as great as I am, you are as great as I am, there is only one. So these are already, profound truths and little mind blowing. I myself, to be frank, took many years to really come to grip with it, because we begin Vedanta with high flown statements which have a poetic beauty about them, which have somehow they touch us. Therefore, even as young people, we get drawn to them, and sometimes we almost believe that we are almost there. But decades pass, then we realize, well, There is many a slip between the cup and the lip. All this is wonderful. I do love the Vedanta, but I need to work on myself. A Vedanta student realizes that. Incidentally, without going long on that profound wisdom of Vedanta, and to come to the topic we have chosen, which is, I would once more say, is Dharma Shastra, right living. I would say right living actually paves the way to not just enjoy those insights of Vedanta, but to own them. You will be able to feel that oneness. Otherwise, you do intellectual justice to those principles, those truths, but you may not be able to really experience that life without conflict, etc. So, what is Vidur Niti? May I also have a copy? Who is Vidura, and what was the context in which he shared his wisdom? Who was his student? For Sri Krishna, Arjuna was the student, and for Vidura, the student was the emperor of the country, Dhritarashtra, the father of Duryodhana, Dushasana and others, the uncle of Pandavas, and de jure, as per law, he was the head. Everything was actually in his hands. He could have stopped the war even that morning of the Kurukshetra battle. But even though for a year or more, many wise people had advised him not to let this war happen, he always said, what you say is true, but I will think about it. And he never stopped the war. Even at the end of the Viduru Niti, which has some 540 verses or so, split into 8 chapters, Dhritarashtra meekly acknowledges before Vidura, Vidura, all that you say is so true. In fact, you need not have said, I knew all this really. You further endorsed my own opinion. This war is going to be very, very bad. But you know, Vidura, what is in human hands after all? Everything is decided up there. Destiny, fate. You know, this idea that life is in our hands, I doubt it, Vidura. Thank you very much. With tears in his eyes, Dhritarashtra lets Vidura go maybe at night 2 a.m. or so, because Vidura is invited almost at 10:30 p.m. one night by Dhritarashtra. That's how the 8 chapters begin. Dhritarashtra one night calls one of his guards, go and call Vidura, I am so restless, I am not getting sleep. Please call him. Vidura is the Prime Minister of Hastinapura and very loyal to the chair, very loyal to the king. Like there is a saying, you know, in various contexts, the version I heard is about the country. My country, right or wrong. If right, keep it right. If wrong, make it right. That's how the patriots talk. So, this man, Vidura, Prime Minister, was loyal. My country, Hastinapura, I will protect, and so on. So, though he was called so late night, he promptly comes within a short time. And who is Vidura? What's his relation apart from the position he held? Position is Prime Minister, and relation wise, many of you know, 2 or 3 may not know, Vidura, Dhritarashtra and Pandu all have the same father, Vedavyasa. Their mothers are 3 different ladies. Vidura's mother is a servant maid in the palace. Dhritarashtra's mother is Ambika, and this Pandu's mother is Ambalika. Ambika and Ambalika were married to Chitravirya and Vichitravirya, who were the princes who became the kings, but they died in a war, or according to another version, died out of some disease. No children. And therefore, the queen mother, the elderly lady, Satyavati, who in her days before marriage to Shantanu of Hastinapura, before marriage, had a relation with Parashara Muni, and Parashara's son was Vyasa. That time her name also was Matsyagandha. She was a fisherwoman, fisherman's daughter, and rowing boats. That's another story. Parashara, not out of lust or some other baser instincts, but he sees the star and planetary positions, and he sees the face of the young lady rowing the boat, and with his mystical knowledge he realizes that if she and I become the parents of a child, that child is going to be extraordinary in his knowledge. In fact, many of you may have studied Ganita, mathematics, in your regional languages, Marathi or Hindi, or I studied up to 10th grade in Kannada. The diameter of a circle is called Vyasa, and diameter by definition in maths is the longest chord. Point A to point B is a chord, and it becomes longest when it's the diameter. So Vyasa, Veda Vyasa, had the largest knowledge. He was born to this union between Matsyagandha and Parashara. So he is called Parasharya. But later on, Matsyagandha reports everything. He was a rishi, he was so eminent, he was so radiant on his face. He says to her father, I am going to be a mother of a child of that man now. The father understands, the child is born, the child then walks away, Veda Vyasa. Eventually Matsyagandha grows a little more, and the king of Hastinapura falls in love with her. She was so charming. Her name is changed, Satyavati, and then she marries Shantanu. Shantanu's children are Chitravirya and Vichitravirya. And the stories are so interesting. Even though many of you know, I also know nothing new, but I feel tempted to give that other dimension. Chitravirya and Vichitravirya had to be married, and there was this Bhishma. Bhishma was the eldest person in the Hastinapura family. He, very aggressive person, though very wise. Vishnu Sahasranama he gives, so much wisdom he gives later, but very rajasic at the same time. He goes and captures 3 princesses, Amba, Ambika and Ambalika. Jabardast. He brings them. There are 2 princes, he should have brought 2. He brought 1 extra. On top of it, Amba refused to marry anybody else than Bhishma himself. And she had another lover. She very unwillingly let go of that friendship. But then she said, okay, I let go of my lover, but if I have to marry anybody, I will marry the man who showed so much of heroism and brought me here. But he says, I have declared in front of all, I am never going to marry. So she is neither here nor there. Eventually Bhishma's death takes place at the hands of that Amba only, who is reborn. What was Shikhandi, all that. So Amba is out of the picture as far as the palace is concerned. Ambika and Ambalika marry Chitravirya and Vichitravirya, and since Chitravirya and Vichitravirya die, Satyavati calls her son of a previous relationship and requests him. And it is believed that with his powers of tapas, he gazes into the eyes of Ambika, and she is unable to bear it. She closes her eyes. Very interesting. Her son is born blind. Dhritarashtra is blind. Ambalika holds her eyes open, keeps her eyes open, but she sort of gets bleached in fear. Because this tapasvi, Veda Vyasa, had a rather fearsome face. He should have gone to a barber and come. But he hurriedly came. He was looking very terrifying. She bleached. So Pandu got with the skin rather abnormal. Name Pandu also means whitish. But the servant maids though she is in the social hierarchy on a lower plane, she came and she was full of love and adoration and excitement. I am going to be blessed with a child by this tapasvi. And she stood before him with all positive energy. Interesting. Some others perhaps would describe it in greater detail. I did my 2 cents, probably Kamala Subramaniam, and there are some people who have written on Mahabharata. Rajaji wrote a very small one long back, Rajgopalachari. Later, I guess the author called Kamala Subramaniam, whole Ramayana, whole Mahabharata, maybe Bhagavat, big book she has written. I haven't read them, but probably there is some psychological elaboration. So Vidura is the son of the servant maid. Since his mother neither closed her eyes out of fear, nor bleached, got white, her skin changed its color, it's nothing. She was normal, gracious, very blessed she felt. The son was totally clear of all confusions. No inferiority complex, no superiority complex, seeing things as they are and communicating in the right way, best possible way. So Vidura was called one night and Dhritarashtra confesses, I am having sleepless nights. I thought somehow the war would not happen, somehow the Pandavas would just go away somewhere, somehow my sons would get the kingdom, what is that, served on a platter. Why would you imagine that, stupid? Pandavas would not so easily let go, and Krishna is with them. Even after knowing Sri Krishna is with Pandavas, Dhritarashtra lived in some fancies of his own. युद्ध नहीं होगा, मेरे पुत्रों को मिल जाएगा राज्य. This is too much, Swami Chinmayananda used to say, it's sure to be dark if you close your eyes. One of his witty statements. If you close your eyes, it will be surely dark. Or otherwise, the ostrich example is given, right? Ostrich, I believe, buries its head in the sand and believes that nothing will happen. Then somebody would come and, capture or cut his neck. So Dhritarashtra was so messed up in his psychological life. Now let me come to our own lives. Some of us here are such good specialists in our fields. Some in law, some in accounts, some in engineering, some in medicine, some in business, some in running a house, some in running some estate, property. All of us have. The Swami also can give good lectures, but all of us, including the Swami, has another part, another dimension of life. There are other areas where we are not very, very right. Maybe some of us have short temper. Some of us are lazy. Some of us have, various negative values. Many a time, from a distance, nobody would know. Tiger Woods was such an envy of the whole world, but he went haywire in his relationship with some women, right? And he lost, in addition to losing his performance, getting disturbed, he lost huge fortunes. He went through a divorce, and I don't know, later on I think he remarried that girl. All this happens, whether it is a woman or man or money or pleasure or some other egoisms, short temper, envy, jealousy, some kind of unreasonable discontent or dissatisfaction. After having everything, some of us may be, I am not happy. That is where Vidura comes in. And you don't need Moksha Shastra for it. Moksha Shastra is the culmination. But Vidura comes in on the level of Dharma Shastra. Dharma Shastra to a great extent sets these things right. Because you should make a careful study of Vidura Niti. For that matter, Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is both Dharma Shastra and Moksha Shastra. Many of you have studied Gita. At the end of every chapter there is that Sankalpa Vakya. Om Tat Sat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishatsu. Then comes the expression Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. So, what I called just a while ago Dharma Shastra is also referred to as Yoga Shastra, many words. That is, in simple terms, this Yoga Shastra, Dharma Shastra is right living. Speak truth, do the right thing, don't be too egoistic, be open to suggestions. If the suggestion is right, go by it. If the suggestion is wrong, have the openness to say, thank you for telling me that, but I am not convinced with what you say. Be open. Many of us lack that. So, Vidura begins his instruction, and at several places in the 543 verses long Vidura Niti, he explicitly says, Rajan, O king, let me not mince words. Even now it is not too late. Stop this war. This war will spell doom to all, especially your children will all be gone. And I told you, finally Dhritarashtra doesn't change his mind. But apart from that specific instruction what to do, this Vidura shares a lot of wisdom on governance, on finance management, on how to keep friends, how to make good relations and how not to get caught in wasteful relationships. So, today I will share some verses from Vidura Niti. All of them except the first one are from the very first chapter. He begins with a splendid coverage of how intelligent people live, work, take decisions, act. Marks of intelligence, therefore, is the topic. I was tempted to take two topics because he covers two topics in the first chapter, marks of intelligence and marks of foolishness. Pandita Lakshanam is the word used in the shlokas. Pandita has many meanings. Pandita some places means an Ayurvedic Pandit, some other Jyotish Pandit. Pandita can mean Sangeet ka Pandit, Some Pandita can mean a caste, Brahmins, Oh, Pandit hai. Oh, Pandit hai. Somebody will make a comment on a Brahmin. So many. In my town, small town where I grew up, there was a teacher in school who taught Hindi, Sanskrit and Kannada. He was a Hindi Pandit, he was a Sanskrit Pandit, he was a Kannada Pandit. But students made fun of him behind his back. If he is coming to the class, they would say to each other, hey, let's go inside. Himsaka is coming. Himsaka means Hindi, Sanskrit, Kannada. Hindi teacher, Sanskrit teacher, Kannada teacher. Himsaka. Himsaka is coming. One day he came to know they are talking like that. They were firing to them in all the three languages. But here Pandita is neither an enlightened man. Bhagavad Gita uses the word Pandita two places at least. Pandita Samadarshinaha and Vidyavanaya Sampanna, and some other sloka also. Pandita. Pandita Shabda is used two or maybe three. There, that word is used in the context of self-realized person, top. But this is Dharma Shastra. Therefore, Dharma Shastra Pandita means intelligent person who has a high amount of viveka, high amount of ability to, after some discussion, some consultation, some, not that he has some mystical powers, but he has those good qualities of consulting, discussing, double checking and thinking, and he has the noble quality of letting go of weaknesses like, I will go finally by the opinion of whoever praised me. That is what some of us do. Some of us, two or three people advise us, and one of them repeatedly says, see, you cannot be wrong. I have seen you for many years. You are so wonderful. In fact, you are asking me advice. In fact, we come to you for advice. Whatever you have decided is right. Utna acha lagta hai. So we treat him. In olden day stories of children's stories, we take the pearl necklace and give him. You gave me the right advice. That's of course exaggerated version. But this man is not an enlightened person, Pandita, but he has those qualities of consultative behavior, reflecting, giving due amount of time, what you call a due diligence and so on, and he goes on learning and adapting. He also may make mistakes sometimes, but then he quickly turns around, changes. Next time the same situation comes, he may not make such same mistake. So it begins with that. So Pandita is intelligent person here. So please repeat after me. We have some nice shlokas here. The only first one is from 5th chapter, where Vidura says to Dhritarashtra, in life there are 5 kinds of strength, and of all the 5 kinds of strength, the 5th one which I will mention, the strength of intelligence is the best. What are the other 4? Without elaborating on them, physical strength. Some of us have, physical strength. That's wonderful. Many a time you need physical strength. That really you have to lift something, you have to run a good distance, physical abilities. That is one bala. Second one is, arthalabha. When you have lot of money, money is a form of strength. Money can get things done, but it has limitations. The third one is, he uses the language of kings. When kings get very good cabinet, prime minister, finance minister, and the judge, army general, his main core group, they are all very mature, very loyal, very truthful. They live a very righteous living, and they are with you. Amatya labha. Amatya is the word used for minister. Therefore, daihika bala, arthika bala, amatya labha, and fourth one, interestingly, he says abhijata balam. Some kings excel, they are better than all other kings, not because of anything else, but by birth they have. In Sanatan Dharma, we believe in previous life. ये बंदा पूर्व जन्म से कुछ ले आया है, उसको फ्लैश होता है क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना है. Because intelligence finally boils down to 2 stages: to see what is right to do, and next stage is to do what you have seen to be right. Many of us don't do. We see what is right to do, but this time I will do the other one. Next time, I will do the right one. Why next time? I will tell you another day. So some weaknesses, some attachment, some partiality, some kind of wanting to favor somebody, that's how we fail. So daihika bala, arthika bala, amatya labha, and what is that? Abhijata bala, some kind of inborn skills and talents, especially in the matter of viveka. The 5th one is this one. Please repeat after me. Yad balanam balam shreshtam tat prajna balamuchyate. Balanam, panchanam balanam, of 5 kinds of strength. Shreshtam is prajna balam. Prajna is again another word for buddhimatta, buddhi, viveka, and pandita lakshanam. They are synonyms. So if you have intelligence, interestingly today a lot of scientists also are slowly agreeing. From IQ they came to EQ, and then they talk about SQ, and that is one language. Otherwise, they are increasingly appreciating something in every one of us called consciousness. So slowly universities are opening departments of consciousness studies. What is consciousness? So consciousness is said to be even subtler, more sukshma than manas and buddhi, and it is consciousness which actually empowers, enables. That is Vedanta actually. In Moksha Shastra that comes. In Kenopanishad, yenahur mano matam, that by which the mind is able to work. That mind cannot grasp, that which mind cannot grasp, but mind is able to do whatever is able to do thanks to a certain principle, and that is Brahma, that is Atma, that is consciousness. So this prajna is in that sense a certain intelligence. If you have that intelligence, then mind becomes a vehicle of it. Mind is the medium in which that intelligence then expresses itself. That is the concept. Now, the first and foremost lakshana, characteristic of intelligent people, you and I should take this as a mirror. Please, if we are truly intelligent, we will not use this to judge immediately family members. This brother is not a Pandita. This sister is a Pandita. That cousin, I think, no. We may do that in between. In between we may do, but mainly we should use Gita and all the Shastras for understanding ourselves. Because the benefit you and I get by understanding our shortcomings, our erroneous zones, our pitfalls, and getting serious about eliminating them, the benefits that come from self-understanding is 100 times more than even if you rightly understand others. Others' life is in their hands, whereas our life is in our hands on a certain plane of consideration. Therefore, this is a mirror. Read the second selection. Nishevate prashastani ninditani na sevate anastika shraddadhanah etat pandita lakshanam. Everyone knows the word sevate, seva karna. Of course, seva, some places it is to serve somebody, but otherwise seva karna means, I don't know whether Marathi, Hindi, etc. you use it. In Kannada, madhyapana sevane means somebody takes alcohol. Hindi mein yo kehte hain sevan. Sevan can be. So medicine also sevan. Yeah, aisa dawa ka sevan karo. Correct. So if that way, sevate means to take or to go for, to opt for. The opposite would be rejecting, tyajati. You opt for this, sevate, and you say, no, I don't want that, that is tyajati. Prashastani sevate. When you put the ni upasargas, some grammar, sevate becomes nishevate. Samsat, instead of sam, suppose there is pari, it becomes pari shat. Sa becomes sha. That's some vyakaran. Nishevate is nothing but sevate. An intelligent person always has a clear preference for what is prashasta, what is going to win the admiration of people down the road. Whereas lot of temptations come to us, we feel like doing something, either temptations or under pressure or under some fear. Instead of eliminating the fear, we succumb to the fear. We yield to the fear instead of keeping it away. Same with temptation. A diabetic finds somebody has left a jar of jalebis and hurriedly went away. And the diabetic thinks, I should not eat. But then he remembers some Panchatantra or some story where, I'll do one thing. In each jalebi, I'll take one inch only. Number of jalebis will be the same. होशियारी गलत जगह यूज कर रहा है, whatever he takes, and then he can't stop there. He goes for 3 or 4, and to add to his sorrow, next day the person comes and says, I wanted to take back that bottle. आधा कर हो गया, चला गया. अच्छा, I thought you had given me that. You are diabetic, right? I thought safest place to keep it. ये क्या आधा खाली हो गया. Anyway, so out of desire, uncontrollable urges, we talk when it's not necessary, we eat when it's not right. They are all not prashasta. Prashasta is not that we are begging for social acceptance, not that we want to do something which brings praise to us. It's not begging for praise, but it is truly deciding something that others also will appreciate, even my enemies will appreciate, and I myself, though now I am suffering, not going for that tempting offer, down the road I will pat myself on the back. Acha kiya. उस दिन इतना मन लगा मेरा, इतना लेने का, खाने का, बोलने का मन हुआ, लेकिन मैंने कहा नहीं, मेरे गुरु को इस तरह शब्द मैं प्रयोग नहीं करूँगा। मेरे ही चाचा जी, जिनके कारण मैं स्कूल कॉलेज सब एजुकेशन पाया, उन्होंने मदन किया था। आज मेरे अंकल कुछ भी गलती किया होगा, आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू से ए बैड वर्ड, एंड यू होल्ड बैक. Down the road you will feel that night, thank God I didn't say any bad words to my uncle. Today I feel good about it. That is prashasta. Whatever, not just in a limited sense of people praising you, but in the sense of due consideration, eventually makes you happy. In mark of intelligence is you increasingly opt for what is good. What is good, going by deeper considerations, some contemplation, some deliberation, which most of us don't do. Whenever we have some plus point, with us, we tend to make much of that plus point. Somebody is very good in academics, he thinks that is enough, and he goes haywire in everything else. Somebody is good in sports, gets gold medal, he is put on a pedestal. Our society does that, right? Somebody ran very fast. That's what sports sometimes is, jumping and running. When I was in a hostel during my undergraduate studies, there was one guy whom we didn't like actually, but he used to bring gold medals to the college in all athletic competitions, and he was a little poor by background. In the hostel, our warden announced, all of you surely will agree with me, and we were all afraid of the warden, we better agree. And he said, we are going to permit Jai Kumar, he was the athlete. Well, all of you are allowed to take 3 rotis, that was the rule there. He is allowed to take 6, both at lunch and dinner, and as we always do, the total expenses will be divided equally among all the students. That means at our expense. Many of us outwardly said, yeah, that's right. Inside we are boiling. So, why did I bring that suddenly? I don't know. Something brought that example. Okay. Prashastani sevate. The mark of intelligence, first thing is you always should go for what is good. Ninditani na sevate. What gives you pleasure? I was saying, once you are good in something, that Jai Kumar, whoever, I changed the name, he used to be very arrogant in the hostel. He used to make mockery all of us. And what made him behave like that, in retrospect I see. Because he was made into a hero in the college, because he got state level and many medals he got, and that's how I brought it. All of us do that. We who are good in academics, we take other things for granted. A husband was heard shouting at his wife, do you know I am a gold medal? Wife said, when was that? 27 years ago. And what has that got to do with the way you treat me, way you treat your children? The husband got confused. Oh, really? It doesn't have anything to do. You might have won a gold medal. That doesn't mean that you can yell at children or wife, or a wife cannot yell at husband or children based on her being very good in academics or music or something. Including the Adhyatma Vidya, somebody speaks very well on Gita, let us say. That doesn't give her or him a right to think that, what is that, holier than thou. Actually, real Adhyatma Vidya should make everyone humble, more humble than ever before. So, this tendency to not think enough, take things for granted and advise others not to do, but when it comes to myself, I can do it, but because I am special. In this way we tend to think. Vidura says, no, whoever you are, emperor of emperors or the lowest rank servant in the palace, if you do what your conscience, what your considered thinking decides as true, if you do that, then you are intelligent. This is not moralizing. There is moralizing also, but it is with a lot of insight into how we fall. Dharma Shastra is all about what makes us rise in happiness, in stability, in various, in feeling a sense of control over life, that is rising, and what makes us fall. How we fall is not in terms of money or other things. Inwardly, if we feel, I lost control on my life, I lost control on myself, I have been crazy these days, I do what should not be done and I am not doing what should be done. Though I put up a good facade in parties and get-togethers, my private life I only know. And suppose somebody thinks like that, and all of us do to a certain extent, some more and some less, right? Then that is fall. Because the greatest blessing in life is when truly, not out of some influence of drugs, truly we feel good about our life. Maybe we have less money, but I feel good. Maybe just a few friends, not very popular or not well known. No, I am not coming on TV or media or newspaper. I haven't gone beyond my district, let us say, not travelled widely. But मुझे अच्छा लगता है. I feel thrilled to face every new day. I am happy to see the sunrise. I am happy to eat the simple meal my wife makes for myself. Simple food, I say, very nutritious. And she and I, children and I, are reasonably happy. Not some kind of, that's a great blessing, right? Nobody would disagree with that. That is rice. So, anastikaha, he is not a nastika, he believes. This is subject to interpretation. Believes in God, believes in noble values, believes in himself, his own hidden or her own hidden potential. As we have put a footnote at the end, footnote number 4, he at all such places implies he or she. These subjects have nothing to do with gender. I used to put he/she and him/her, and then somebody said to me, don't make all the translations so complicated. Then for a time I really did that. I used to put only she. People asked, who are you talking about? Is there some special she in your life? You are all writing. Then I said, let me stick to he at the end, right? He means he or she. So, anastikaha. She believes or he believes in herself too, himself too. Shraddha danaha. So extend other domains. You have joined a school, you have joined a company for job, and until compelling evidence is there, you trust the company's goals, you trust the school's objectives. Some imperfections everywhere are, but broadly you have Shraddha. You have Shraddha, Vishwas in your children. My children are not perfect, but in each of them I see some divinity, and you embrace your child with true love. That is also a dimension, a facet of Shraddha. Going on, Vidura says to Dhritarashtra, one more verse, Krodho harshascha dharpascha Hristambho manyamanita Yamarthat napakarshanti Savai pandita uchyate. I won't go into every one of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 emotions are talked about. Krodha, anger, harsha, certain, by context it is egoistic elation. If you feel very happy at something that is good for all, there is nothing wrong with that. But if there is something where you are projected as superior to others and you feel very good about it, somebody praises you and साथ सारे दूसरों की निंदा करती. They are all number one idiots. I found you to be the only sensible person in this company. That's why I want to meet you. Feel very happy, let us say. That harsha is talked about, which boosts your ego, which satisfies your ego. that kind of harsha. Even when our children perform, when my child got a prize and the neighbor's child was removed in the first round itself. There are some rounds, sometimes. What do you call them? Levels. Elimination round. That child was eliminated in the elimination round. Our child went up to finals or semi-finals. My wife and I talk like that, let us, and Harsh. Vidura says, it is natural for parents to feel good about their children's performance, but you should keep it in certain decent limits. Appreciate your child's performance, but don't allow some kind of tatsara, there's a word, some kind of, looking down at them as though wishing for more sorrow for them, more defeat for them. That is a problem. Darpaha, some arrogant behavior. He. Sometimes you feel unduly hesitant. Modesty goes a little more than what is appropriate. Jahan you have to be upfront, you say, baad mein bolunga. Stambha also is some kind of, like a pillar. Stambha is also a pillar, being insensitive. The translations in the right side may be slightly different. Manya manita is self-superiority. So, those 6 are mentioned. Many a time it is certain emotions which go a little beyond limits that make us move away from artha. Third line says, arthat na apakarshanti. You all know the word purushartha. Artha here is used in the sense of purushartha. Purushartha means noble goal of life. All of us have, broadly speaking, 4 noble goals. We begin with artha, security. Money is one symbol of security. Kama, all of us would like to enjoy varieties of things. So, these animals, birds, human beings, all want some enjoyment. Right? Ashrams also have a special dinner on Sunday or something. I heard that in Powai ashram nowadays, we didn't have that. Times were different. Sandeep, Chinmaya Mission ashram, every Saturday they get pasta and pizza and all new things. उन दिनों में वो भी नहीं था, it was not the norm. And because there are always a few Western students or Indians, NRIs, but they have grown up abroad. उनको वेदांत सुनते हैं, ये सब ठीक है, लेकिन पिज़्ज़ा कब मिलेगा? शनिवार को मिलेगा आपको. So the gurus at ashrams also have become, more considerate. They give something that makes the students who are supposed to be virakta, vairagya, but they are happy. I have decided to continue. Somewhere on the verge of leaving. In one of the courses I taught, one Bengali boy, without telling reason, left. He came and did one namaskar. मैं चलता हूँ. मैं क्या है? He said, thank you Swami ji. 1 month I stayed, I enjoyed, but for reasons which I cannot tell you, I am leaving. And I should have had one of these qualities to be a little bit of, in a nice way. Beto, क्या तकलीफ हुआ? But I sometimes agree, that's my weakness, I'm working on it. I agree very quickly. And later on, if some people, caution me, then I try to repair it. I said to him, okay, God bless you. It was nice having you for a month. He just went with a bag, went to the office, took some, formalities. Later I came to know, though it's not 100% verified, but it came to others said, this Bengali boy was from day one missing fish. He was missing fish and he felt he has a problem, He should also have been, if I could not have been open, at least he could have been open. Swami ji, और कुछ नहीं, बुरा मत मानिए, मुझे थोड़ा मछली मिलती, हफ्ते में एक बार. Then, by going by nature, I would have permitted for him to go out twice a week. There are nearby wonderful restaurants. जो चाहिए वो खाओ, गोमांस मत खाओ. But हमारे सनातन धर्म में मछली, मांस, अंडा वो सब allowed है. There are many, majority eat it. I would have, but वैसे ही चला गया. So anyway, I should not elaborate so much. So, arthat na apakarshanti. Various emotions. You find out what emotion has made you derail. आपकी रेलगाड़ी अक्सर derail हो गई. क्यों? It is kama or krodha or lobha or mada or matsarya and various other combinations. Sometimes you might be feeling very lonely at some place. Then though in other respects it would have been good for you to continue, you just, I don't want this place. You went away. You resigned from a job. You didn't get job then for 2-3 years. Then you regret. Apakarshana means taking you away from the right path. And Vidura says, those of us who get troubled by certain emotions, sometimes some happy emotions might also make us lose sight of what is right, become so excited, Happy or sad emotions, painful or enjoyable emotions. Emotions many times derail us from the path. Yam or na apakarshanti. If somebody cannot get distracted and diverted, even though there are emotions, he is able to somehow bear them. He is able to at least give some time to himself. बिल्कुल मुझे जाने का मन हो रहा है, जाऊंगा ही, लेकिन और 2 दिन देखता हूँ. Many a time in those 2 days you get another insight, another angle of view, and you stay on. If that is the right decision, you saved yourself. Then yasya krityam na jananti mantram va mantritam pare kritamevasya jananti savai pandita uchyate yasya krityam na vignanti शीतमुष्णं भयं रतिः समृद्धिरसमृद्धिर्वा स वै पंडित उच्यते. So most of the last lines say sa vai pandita uchyate. Such a person, lady or man, child or adult, is called truly intelligent. Going by the first one we read, who has the ability to keep confidential matters confidential. In life of all of us, at office, at home, at every place really. Many of us don't know when to stop. We just, what's that idiom? Spill the beans. We spill the beans. बाद में उसे मुझे कहना नहीं चाहिए था, मैंने वादा किया था सबको, I will not tell anybody. But then I said, I told her, but but at the end I told her, don't tell anybody. She will go and tell somebody again saying, don't tell anybody. Then there will be 7 or 8 people who know it. Again, emotions play a role. Sometimes the other person, you don't want to tell, maybe your husband, maybe your wife, maybe a close friend gets a whiff of it. Tell me what was decided in the meeting. Tell me, no. I won't tell anybody. Please tell me, please tell me, please tell me. I have many times slipped in this. When somebody put a lot of pressure on me, then I took vada from them. You won't tell anybody, right? Then I told them some secret. My God, one lady in Varanasi, she was holding a certain position in the management. I was also holding some position. When I told her that such and such person actually made some mocking statement at you, she hung up the phone. It was a phone conversation. Next thing, she called that person. I believe, and no other than Swamiji said this to me. स्वामी जी ने कहा तो वो झूठ नहीं बोलेंगे normally. How dare you say this, etc. And then that person said to me later, Swami ji, आपने क्यों बोला? That day afterwards I have been more cautious. Some people put emotional pressure. Don't you trust me? Am I not? That lady said all sorts of things. Am I not like your elder sister? She was a little like elder sister. अपने मेरे को एक छोटे भाई की तरह, she had treated me, called me many times to her house, treated me to some nice, So पिघल गया. I said to her, and the result was I had to mend it. It took some time, or maybe the other person is even now not forgiving me, because all relation. So yasya kritam na jananti. Mantra here means consultation, something you discuss with somebody. Mantra is not Om Namah Shivaya here. In Maharashtra, you don't have to say that. In Maharashtra, your Vidhan Sabha is called Mantralaya. Is our Vidhan Sabha Mantralaya same, or Mantralaya is the executive wing? It's pretty much same. It's the executive wing. All the bureaucrats sit there. Yes. Vidhan Sabha alag se hai. Lawmakers. They are the Shasakanga. This is Karyanga. I learned civics in these words. The three divisions. Karyanga is executive wing. Shasakanga is the lawmakers. Nyayanga is the judiciary. So whether it's any of them, they have a lot of deliberations going on. So mantra, you have Mantralaya in Bombay, right? So mantra is discussing, consulting. And then there are typically things which are not to be divulged. And mantram, mantritam, and at any stage of that, maybe it was just discussed, or the project has gone halfway, action has begun. Any stage, an intelligent person should have the discretion to keep a secret a secret. Otherwise, the repercussions are sometimes unbearable. Kritame vasya jananti. In the case of such an intelligent person, when everything is completed, others will come to know. Then no harm. He kept the secret. For the good of, not for selfish interest, obviously. Vidura is not making a case for being selfish and achieving your personal goals. Intelligent person works for the good of all. All those noble sentiments of value-based management are contained in this. Next one says, Shitam, Ushnam, Bhayam, Ratihi, heat or cold, some risky conditions. Bhayam means there is a fear of something going wrong. You take risk. Ratihi is certain enjoyments come your way and you feel like, let's take a break. You could wait a little. But those of us who can't wait, enough is enough, let's enjoy. Life is short. Some logic is given there. Zindagi dobara nahi aayegi. Something, in Hindi songs and Hindi movies, you get a lot of this wisdom. Mil jayenge. You have to connect them properly. Zindagi dobara nahi milegi. Abhi aanand le lo. Khao, pivo, mauz udao. No. An intelligent person respects. Yes. He respects, she respects the place for enjoyment. He respects, or he does know that one must not take too much of risk, but calculated risks. Sometimes when one is very devoted to a cause, one takes major risks also and is ready for, ready for the effects or the consequences. You may lose your property. Then some patriots have lost their property. Some patriots were jailed, freedom struggle and other times. So if your conscience says, I am ready to go to jail, then the best of you comes out in such cases. Sometimes some people just go into the pages of not history, they get totally forgotten also. But that's part of the risk. Nobody would remember, nobody would know you had done such a sacrifice. Some others are celebrated. Some others are given awards posthumously, greatest awards. Whatever it is, intelligence has to have a quality of piercing through, breaking through ordinary barriers. Very thought-provoking. Samruddhihi asamruddhirva. Prosperity or poverty. One is walking the right path, one does what is right. Krityam na vignanti. Those things do not cause vigna to what you are trying to do. You actually Bear with them. Similarly, one, two more. Yasya sansarini prajna dharmarthau anuvartate kamad artham vrinite yaha savai pandita uchyate yata shakti chikirshanti yata shakti chakurvate na kinchid avamanyante panditah bharatarshava. I split the sandhi. When you split the sandhi, that visarga comes up, panditah. There is no correction to be made. Pandita bharatarshava. Sandhi hai Sanskrit mein. So panditah bharatarshava. Like in the previous verse also, dharmarthau anuvartate. Dharmartha anuvartate. Dharmarthau, when I recite, some of you know a little Sanskrit, clearly see dharma aur arth. Krishna Arjunau, Krishnascha Arjunascha. So, leaving Sanskrit aside, yasya sansarini prajna. Like any other human being, this intelligent man being considered also has certain sentiments for I must be wealthy, my family should be in good shape, I should also enjoy maybe a nice vacation once a while. That is samsarini prajna. So, Viduraniti is very practical. This man has a samsarini prajna, that is certain worldly outlooks. There is nothing wrong in having certain worldly outlooks, but the question is, are those worldly outlooks, desire to have a nice vacation in Mauritius, desire to buy something very new, desire to enjoy this or that, does it override? Does it have so much power over you that at the drop of a hat you will leave your duty and go for the pleasure that is possible? That is the issue. Samsarini prajna dharma arthau anuvartate. The intelligent man is he whose worldly priorities somehow are brought under the bracket of dharma and artha. Before putting his next step, he asks himself, will this violate dharma? Then I would rather let go of it. Will this violate artha? Artha is the true growth, not temporary growth. Many times when you and I do some wrong thing, at that time it's a gain, but down the road it's a big loss. Many people who played with the laws are exiled today, as we know. I don't have to take the names. Very, very big celebrities are hiding in England or in America or somewhere. Indian government is trying to bring them back. Or without leaving the country, somebody, let us say, who had occupied a very enviable top position in one of the well-known banks, was in jail, then is out on bail, and at one time that lady was like a role model to all young girls in the country. But later on that lady is fighting her because she took some liberties. So that's the idea. So that lady, of course, many of you know whom I am talking with, somebody like Chanda Kochar, let us say. And there is a Chanda Kochar in all of us. So mirror is to our face, not to, why blame her? We don't know what were the compulsions, what were the pressures on her. Apparently it is said her own husband went on demanding, "Arey, you are managing director of ICICI Bank. काय के लिए मैं MD हो तुम? इतना पति के लिए इतना नहीं कर सकते हो तो क्या किया?" He must have asked you, I don't know what arguments, what dialogues took place. Then apparently for her husband's sake, she did certain financial transactions having the power. So if she had stood her ground and said to her husband, said, "Oh dear, I love you a lot, but this is not possible. Whatever I decide has to be within dharma and artha. the company's growth, our own growth, that is not something I can do. It's not, sometimes they use the word, that is non-negotiable. झूठ बोलो. So युधिष्ठिर ने कहा था श्री कृष्ण को ही, मैं झूठ नहीं बोलूँगा. कृष्ण ने कहा युधिष्ठिर एक बार बोल दो, अश्वत्थामा मर गया. युधिष्ठिर देखता है अश्वत्थामा उधर है, अश्वत्थामा यहाँ है, मैं कैसे कहूँ कि अश्वत्थामा मर गया. देन कृष्ण तो कृष्ण है, कृष्ण इज सो क्लेवर. श्री कृष्ण सेज, you see that elephant which is killed there? What's the name of that elephant? That one elephant which was just now killed had the same name Ashwatthama. फिर तुम ऐसे कहो, जोर से बोलो, Ashwatthama hatah kunjaraha. Kunjaraha means elephant. And Yudhishthira thinks, if I say the elephant Ashwatthama died, that would not be untrue. So he loudly says, Ashwatthama hatha kunjaraha. And exactly when he was to pronounce kunjaraha, Sri Krishna himself, I think, blows the conch or something he does. So Ashwatthama ka baap, Dronacharya, hears only Ashwatthama hatha. Ashwatthama hatha. Kunjaraha, wo sunta nahi hai. And it is coming from, not Swami,
Yudhishthira.
coming from Yudhishthira. So Drona, with this certain special powers, leaves his body in the chariot. The spirit goes to where his son Ashwatthama is. Maybe he was capable of doing something. Then sees Ashwatthama is hale and hearty. Then dhokha hua. He runs back. By then Drashtadyumna, I think, cuts Drona's body. Drashtadyumna becomes the cause of Drona's death. Drona was finished that way. So some people stand their ground. Yudhishthira. But one flaw, he knew that Krishna is up to something. So Yudhishthir ko पूछना चाहिए था, what are you up to? Why are you asking me to say Ashwatthama hatha kunjaraha? कुछ लफड़ा नहीं है ना इधर. But he, for a moment, very sattvic person, he went a little into tamas. ठीक है, बोल दूंगा. Therefore, you know that he had to have a sightseeing of hell. He was not given, sentence to stay in, but just यहाँ से जाओ सब देखकर बाहर निकलो. That was a punishment given to him for telling that one lie. This Rama and Mahabharata are amazing. So dharmartha anuvartate. Your worldly, please have desire, please have priorities, please have your goals. But see that they are all, pursued within certain non-negotiable, unnegotiable moral laws. Then you are an intelligent person. Kamad artham vraniteyaha. You always go for a purushartha rather than kama. Kamat, Panchami Vibhakti is, rather than going for enjoyment, you go for purushartha. And this is also so simple, the practically last verse, though there is one more, some kind of summary. Yatha Shakti Chikirshanti, we read. Intelligent people know Yatha Shakti, they plan also broadly within their capacity. 10% theek hai. They don't plan something which is double the capacity, finance wise, energy wise, time wise, And somebody asks, how is it possible? हो जाएगा. पैसे कहाँ है? पैसे आ जाएगा. कहाँ से आ जाएगा भाई? तुम दोगे? मैं नहीं देने वाला. Some people take it so casually, mad people. Then everything is left halfway and so on. So, unless you have certainty, sometimes we do, because there are some promises, somebody would have assured us, there are some clear indications. And if those people who had promised, who had given clear indications of support for their good reasons withdraw, then okay, we are not totally at fault. To a little extent, then also we are at fault. But at least, there was some clear indication. But otherwise, Yatha Shakti, you should plan, knowing well your boundaries at a given point of time. And Yatha Shakti Kurvate, they do also, planning and then implementation time also, we keep in mind what is our actual capacity. And most important, na kinchid avamanyante. Suddenly this verse goes to plural. I have to check again why all the verses are singular. Here avamanyante, kurvate, chikirshanti. Wise, intelligent people never disrespect any job. They may opt for a job with a very great salary and perks, etc. Meanwhile, a cousin of theirs is struggling to get a peon's job. Their family is not doing well. In spite of some help we try to give, let us say. Sometimes it happens. I mean, very common. He doesn't say, hey, I don't want to help you in all kinds of petty things. But that man is not capable. He is trying for a small job. रोजी रोटी के लिए एक छोटा सा काम चाहिए उसको. If you tell your that cousin who asks your help, अच्छा ठीक है, I will tell I know somebody in that company, I'll put a word, तुम सच ही वो जॉब करना चाहते हो ना, वो बहुत छोटा काम है आपको, नहीं नहीं मेरे लिए वही बड़ा है, he says, then you sympathize. न किंचिद अवमन्यन्ते, you don't look down at it. Because the moral philosophy says it's not what you do, but how you do, in what mindset you do. You do a small thing with love. You do very small work, small pay, all that. But everybody says, well, that worker, it's a pleasure to see him for doing something for us. So, na kinchid avamanyante. And lastly, we'll read this and complete. क्षिप्रं विजानाति चिरं शृणोति विज्ञाय चार्थं भजते न कामात् नासंपृष्टो व्यौपयुङ्क्ते परार्थे तत्प्रज्ञानं प्रथमं पंडितस्य. In a sense, it's a summary of what was said, and you noticed the meter is long. I changed the tone. You can't sing the shloka the same way as the previous shloka. They are in what is called anushtup, 8 syllables. This is a longer meter, therefore the tone. In Sanskrit, all this chandas is there. So you can't sing some, let's say there is Shiva Panchakshara Stotra. How does it begin? Nagendra. Nagendra haraya trilochanaya basmangaragaya. Maheshwaraya. So that's a different. You read Gita, Basman. Read Gita, you read, Dharma Kshetre, Kuru Kshetre, Samaveta Yusavaha, Mamaka, that's one tune. Nagendra haraya tri. It is longer meter, so you have to have a tune. Nagendra haraya trilochanaya. Then 1/4 ends. Let's not go more into it. This is, I think, Upajati, or this is the Trishtup. Kshipram vijanati chiram shrinoti. Take shiram shrinoti first. In translation, we have done that. An intelligent person listens where it is necessary to listen. Sometimes you should not listen, somebody is wasting your time. I know it, you stop him. But there are times when you don't know what he is. Don't cut him even before he completes one sentence. So listen to him. Kshipram means patiently. Samay lekar. And then Chiram means Samay lekar. Kshipram, and having listened to the other person, you understand. Most people listen for the sake of listening. Their mind is somewhere else. Vijnaya chartam, having understood the matter about which the other person is talking to you, bhajate. You go for right action, na kamat. Not for fulfilling your own selfish ends. And third line also is so practical. Na asamprishtaha vyaupayunkte pararthe. Parartha is others' business. Prishta means when asked. saprashta, asamprashta. Asamprashta, they have not asked you to get into it, but you go and meddle with that family's matters. You go and meddle with that company's matters. Then somebody in that company asks you, who are you? Where did you come from? You work in this company? No. I actually work for your competitor. Then more alarm. So asamprashta, in families also it happens everywhere, and all of us do this to lesser or more extent. If we do it more than what is optimum, then we have to act on it, unless they ask. Samprashtaha pararthe upayunkte or aupayunkte, whatever. You engage in helping somebody where there is a little receptivity, little acceptance. Otherwise, you are gate crashing, into their matters. And these are pratamam prajnanam. These are the early signs of intelligence. So I gave a glimpse of how Vidura handles this issue. Indirectly, he is telling Dhritarashtra, I am not able to find any of these marks in you, O king. Dhritarashtra, he has unfortunately moved away from all these beautiful standards. We may not be so bad, but we also have some problems. Never mind, accept yourself, but work on it. Life is till our last breath we learn, we grow. मरने के 2 मिनट पहले शायद some bad word came in our tip of spouse. But 2 minutes पहले, then you didn't say anything. Your Atma knows that I won. I didn't say it out. क्योंकि मरने से पहले क्यों डांटूं किसी को, क्यों उसमें मैं दोष देखूं या दोष दिखाऊं. Let me pause here. Maybe I took a little more time. I have to work on doing it within time. Please ask any questions if you have.
So which is the place that you come from in Karnataka?
From Kundapur near Udupi. You are from there?
No, I have friends in
Mangalore.
Udupi and nearby.
Coastal Karnataka. Kundapur proper. It's a sizable town with all basic facilities. I was there up to 12th grade. Afterwards, I have been a visitor once in a while. I do. For studies, for higher studies and all that. घूमा फिरा. कभी लगता है मेरा गांव इतना सुंदर था, क्यों छोड़ा. वो होता है ना. Yeah.
Sir, I have a
Yeah.
So all these discourses or lectures,
Correct.
and that, it creates a framework.
Correct.
Intelligence. Okay,
Yeah, correct.
rationality and
True.
But at emotional level,
Yeah.
especially in intimacy,
True.
family and other things, it doesn't bring about change.
You are
I'm
right.
aware.
You are right. I am also suffering because of that. But I have found the solution. Solution is what? What is called Anushthan in our tradition. You have heard the word Anushthan? Anushthan means certain acharan, certain practices. In Sanatan Dharma, we have this expression, Trikarana Shuddhi. 3 is 3. Karana is Kaya, Vak, Manaha. Bodily, speech-wise,